I'm going to be very honest with you, Miss McCrae. Actually, I'm interested in the activities of one particular person, a Mr. Riley Greenleaf.
Well, you picked a beauty, Lieutenant. If anybody had it in for Alan, it was Riley Greenleaf.
Really? That seems strange. You know, I spoke to Mr. Greenleaf earlier this morning. He seemed to me like he was genuinely upset, acted like he lost a close friend.
Oh, that's beautiful. Alan was about to walk out on him, taking a best-selling book with him.
Well, that must have been the book that Mr. Mallory was dictating. I see. Gonna walk out and take the book. But wait a minute, no. I'm confused a little bit. Wouldn't these two men have a contract?
Yeah, but it was about to expire in 3 weeks.
But still, the book would still belong to Mr. Greenleaf, wouldn't it?
You got a lot to learn about the publishing business, Lieutenant. Riley Greenleaf didn't know anything about that book. Alan never talked to him about it, and never would, until he was free of that contract.
I see. You mind if I smoke?
No.
I understand that Mr. Greenleaf has made threats against Mr. Mallory. You know anything about that?
Last night, he said some ugly things. He said if Alan didn't write for him, he wouldn't write for anybody.
He said that?
Yeah. But look, don't take my word for it. There were a lot of witnesses there.
No kidding.
Of course, the fact they questioned you in a state of fatigue opens the doors for serious consideration of involuntary self-incrimination. On that basis alone, I'm sure
David,
we could get...
Would you please shut up? You don't seem to realize that Alan is dead, and I may be the one who killed him.
I'd keep that opinion to myself if I were you, Riley.
Lieutenant Columbo to see you, sir.
Yes, ask him to come in. Thank you, Edwards.
Yes, sir.
Riley, you don't understand. I am as upset as you are about Alan's death. But you must not say anything that could be construed as an admission of guilt.
Oh, Lieutenant, I'd like to apologize for this morning, but I must tell you honestly, I don't remember a thing about last night.
I understand, sir.
Forgive the condition of the room, but I'm redecorating.
More questions, Lieutenant? Or are you here to press some kind of charges?
Well, sir, you see, we traced the gun.
My gun. It was my gun, wasn't it?
Yes, sir, we were able to trace it to you.
Yeah, I knew that. When I looked in the car and the glove compartment, I saw that my gun was missing.
Well, obviously someone stole it.
Doesn't look that way, sir. The only fingerprints that we were able to find on the handle of that gun were Mr. Greenleaf's. There were no other prints on the gun.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Alan walked out on me. Took his latest book to another publisher, and I suppose in anger, I killed him.
That new book, I suppose that's a pretty valuable piece of property.
Anything that he wrote was valuable, Lieutenant. And if anybody was around to write the first genuine bestseller about Vietnam, it certainly was Alan Mallory.
Is that a fact, really? I was always under the impression that the war stories, they all went over big.
Only our popular wars. 30 years ago, World War II was a gold mine, but Vietnam, that's a plague.
Hold it, wait a minute. I'm confused. Either I'm confused or somebody's not telling the truth. I was told, Mr. Greenleaf, that you knew nothing about the contents of Mr. Mallory's new book.
Actually, I don't. Just that this morning, listening to Alan's voice on the tape, didn't he mention something about Saigon and the war? I just assumed that...
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Well, this is a puzzler. I don't know quite what to say. Do you remember taking the gun out of your car?
No, but
Riley, I warn you not to say anything else.
David, would you please
I'm not going
stay
to
out of
stand
this?
by and watch you talk yourself into a murder charge.
David, you will do exactly as I asked you to do, and I pay you very handsomely just for that privilege, so please stay out of it.
You say you always kept your gun in your car?
Yes,
Is that the car?
it is.
May I take a look?
Of course, if you like.
How long has this lock been broken?
Well, I don't know that it is.
Well, it's been jimmied, sir, and the scratch mark is fresh.
So, may I? Well, you're absolutely right, Lieutenant. Oh, I see what you're driving at. You mean that someone could have broken into the car, and that's how the gun was stolen?
It's possible.
The key.
Sir?
Key to Alan's office. I kept an extra one here in the glove compartment along with the gun. No, it's gone, too.
Mr. Greenleaf?
Yes?
The telephone, sir. It's Mr. Trumbull. He says it's quite important.
David, would you take the call? I'm in no mood to discuss insurance, please.
I'll have him call back later.
Oh, no, wait. You better find out what he wants.
Yeah, I guess somebody give you a pretty good rap back here.
Oh, yeah. That's a beauty, isn't it? That's the first time I noticed that.
No kidding. I'll tell you, body work like that, gotta run you 100, 150.
Lieutenant, when you own a car like this, it costs that much merely to raise the hood.
No kidding.
Sure.
Listen, my wife's got a cousin in the valley. He owns a body shop. I mean, if you want me to talk to him.
Well, that's very decent of you. You see, I have a cousin in Beverly Hills. He does all my work for me.
Lieutenant, I have some disappointing news for you. You're going to have to stick this murder on somebody else. Riley's got an alibi that even he doesn't know about, and it's ironclad.
Well, what is it? I mean, I'm very glad to hear that.
At 10:30 last evening, Riley Greenleaf was involved in an auto accident in the parking lot of the Moore Park Inn. That's in Encino.
Encino? What the devil was I doing there?
You were drinking at the bar, I'm pleased to inform you. Then he was taken to jail, where he spent most of the evening in the drunk tank, till I got him out.
An experience I don't wish to relive, thank you.
You son of a gun. Well, I guess that just about does it.
You may say that again.
All I can say is thank God. A blackout is a frightening thing. I must be grateful to those people for having the good sense to call my insurance company to report. David, do you realize that if those people had not contacted Mark Trumbull, what would have... I don't even want to think about that.
That accident, sir? That must have been where you damaged the rear end of your car.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, listen, I better go check this thing out. Still, it's funny.
What's that, Lieutenant?
The fingerprints. The fact that only your fingerprints were on the gun. Well, listen, I don't want to impose on you. Thank you very much for the cooperation.
Well, you're more than welcome. Please don't hesitate to call it if there's anything I can do. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Columbo.
Sir?
I suppose you realize what you almost did?
Sir?
You were going to arrest him, weren't you?
Well, it did seem to me that he was somehow involved.
Seen. When are you police going to realize that it takes more than circumstantial evidence to convict a man of a crime?
David.
Evidence. Find the evidence, Lieutenant. Quit jumping to conclusions and quit trying to take the easy way.
Oh, Mr. Chase, one thing. About that accident, do you happen to know who else was involved?
It's a couple from El Monte, Mr. and Mrs. Morgan. Why?
Well, you see, I didn't know, I just wasn't sure whether it was just one person in the other car or whether there was more than one. And no, I was just telling your attorney that I wasn't sure whether there was just one person in the other car or whether there was more than one. And when you said that you were relieved that those people, more than one, when you were relieved that those people called your insurance man, I thought maybe the blackout was starting to clear up and you were beginning to remember what happened.
Perhaps he is. Subconsciously.
That's probably it. His subconscious. just one more thing.